This conference will now be recorded.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. This is the April 13th meeting of the Arkansas City Historic Preservation Board. And I'm President Fosfair. I'm calling the meeting to order. You want to call the roll, Josh?
Sure. Kevin Cox.
I am here.
Fosfair.
Here.
Charles Jennings. Haley Lawson.
Here.
And George Lozano.
Okay. Well, this is a discussion meeting mainly. Josh, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about the Historic Preservation Fund grant opportunity.
Okay. Of course, we talked 2 weeks ago. We talked about that grant, and consensus seemed to be that we would focus on redoing our walking tour. That brochure, I looked it up. I believe it was 2005 when that was done. So it's no wonder it's a little out of date. It's about 15 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I did reach out as I sent some emails to Newton. Newton and North Newton together did a similar project, 2016, 17, somewhere in there. It was very helpful because I almost completely copied their application. I had to change, obviously, some of our details because there was a little bit different, but they did basically the same sort of scenario. They built a mobile-friendly website, and it was a website, not an app. They looked at an app and found that it was going to be more burdensome than it was worth. But they did do a website. They also did booklets. I think they printed 10,000 of their little booklets or maps or something. And I looked at our old application that we did in 2005 for the grant, and that's exactly what they did too. They printed 10,000 of those things originally. And so I kind of looked at the budget that was done back then and looked at what Newton's was. I ended up just using Newton's number on our application, which, let me scroll down to that budget on mine. Their printing was supposed to be about $4,000 what they budgeted, and then they set aside about $7,000 for mobile app development, or website, whatever you want to call it. What they did is they used a local company that does web design. I actually looked at it myself, and we might be able to get around that, about even chart using that if I can develop it myself using our software, because ours is supposed to be mobile friendly. Andrew could probably fill us in if he disagrees with me, but we might be able to do that without having that extra expense. I don't know. We'd have to see. Looks like we just got Charles on the line.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you think that our website is actually capable of doing a nice mobile-friendly version of something like this if we just created a page?
Yes and no. I mean, more likely we'd want to build that into the design as we're developing the new website, but we could have, if we do a microsite for Visit Ark City like we're discussing, we could have some pages dedicated to the downtown portion of that.
Okay, so that's a possibility then. It's just the timing's going to be tight, but I think that's okay. Looking at the kind of the draft timeline that, and again, I kind of stole some of this from Newton. It showed that we would select a consultant for that in July. But of course we don't have to do that. Final draft to print December. Actually, it shows I put down that the website part won't be done until April. So we're probably fine. I think that will line up with our website anyways, so maybe that'll work.
Yeah,
Which might mean we don't have to put that in to the budget number, which makes it even more palatable. But I'm going to leave it on there anyways, because I hate to not apply for it and then need the money later. That's not going to work. So that's probably, I'll just leave it in that. And then of course we have to do match, and I believe that, I don't know exactly how much everybody's thinking about their time, but I think we could do a lot more than $600 in volunteer labor.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
that
well,
will,
I'm willing to, I'm sorry, this is Foss. I didn't mean to interrupt.
that's fine.
But you go ahead, Josh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm just saying I'm willing to do some research on this because I think it's interesting. But,
I basically allotted for about 25 hours of volunteer time, which, the way I put it in there was all 5 board members for 5 hours. I mean, whatever that really means. We would just have to track what everybody did if whoever's in. But
Hey,
at
Josh.
25 hours, that's roughly $600 based on the volunteer rate that we allow us to use. Did somebody else just sign on?
Yes, George Lozano is here. Sorry, I'm late.
You're right. That means everybody's
Josh,
here.
if you want to throw some hours on there for me, I don't know where you'd put them, but you could probably put me under volunteer labor for like design. Probably no more than
We
20,
could do it
30
like that,
hours.
or you could do it as staff for that matter.
Yeah, wherever you think it fits best, but I kind of thought I would probably be helping a little bit on the layout piece of it. Also, I got a hold of Pam Crane and asked her if she can get you one of the copies of the current brochure.
Okay.
Would it be easier for her to bring that by or mail it to you, or?
Or I can go over there. It didn't really matter to me.
Okay. Well, she said she would be in the office tomorrow, so.
She is in the office?
Yeah. One reason I wanted to get a hold of it is I thought we could maybe scan it or something and put it into the packet so the commissioners can see. Maybe not the whole thing, but if we can find the pieces of it that are the most out of date. That might be a nice illustration of why we're trying to do this.
yeah, that's a good idea, Andrew.
So at any rate, that's kind of where we stand right now. That $4,000, of course, was based off of $10,000, and that's based off of what Newton's expenses were. I would hope that we would be able to contact Kester or Keefe. I don't know which. I'd have to look and see which one did the last one. Let's see if it's on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Keith is good, I think, but maybe both, however that's done.
It looks
Again,
like
this
they
is Foss.
use. Looks like Keefe declined.
Okay.
But they used color impressions, whatever that is.
Hmm.
I think Kester would be capable of doing something similar.
One would think. Oh, Colored Impressions is in Wichita. So, yes, I would prefer, if we're going to do that, we might as well use the same firm that Newton used.
Yeah, it looks like they didn't even look at Kester, which is surprising to me. Central Plains, I don't think, is operating anymore.
Well, they are, but not here, I think.
I would
Maybe
do-
under another name. Yeah.
I would do Keefe and Kester, and if you want to look at the Wichita one too, just give you 3.
That's when the
Yeah,
brochure would be
the
helpful too, because then I can actually send them a copy of it. Hey, this is what we did last time. We want to do something similar.
This is Foss. I'm just saying, from the limited experience I've had, that the 4-color thing, some printers may not have all the well done. I hear myself in the echo.
Yeah, we're getting lots of feedback in there.
And it just sounds awful. But anyway, go ahead.
What
Okay,
are others
Josh, yeah.
about the website portion? Do you think it's okay if we do that in-house?
This is Andrew. Just speaking as the PIO, I mean, anything we're putting on the city website or Visit Arc City is going to run through me. If you're talking more of a downloadable app, then that'll be a little bit different. But like I said, I think it would be neat to incorporate the kids into designing something like that versus just paying someone, depending on how ambitious we're going to get with it.
Right. I just really like the idea of having something, and we talked about this last time, electronic, because that gets to the younger generation. And you know what? If you run out of the copies of the brochure, then you still have that. We can always ask for money down the road to print more, or we can do it through Visit Arc City or something later on if we had to. But that just gives us an out way that we actually have it on.
And digital documents, is Charles speaking, digital documents gives you, I would think, a lot more latitude to integrate the things that the young people created. And maybe even to cycle through those.
This is George here, and I think it alleviates the need for people that are interested in seeing the downtown area, the need to go and find the tour guide, the paper tour guide, if they decided just to do it, to have that information at their fingertips.
Yeah, I agree. This is Josh.
This is Foss. I just, for clarity, we're talking about somebody to do this on video. Is that correct?
I didn't say anything about video.
Okay. Well, again, I'm technically challenged, so I'll let you guys discuss what. I mean, I'm just trying to picture what the app is going to be like. Is it going to be written words on a page with pictures, or?
Let me show you. Well, I can't show you all. But for those that can see my screen, Newton did theirs. They just called it NewtonDrivingTour.com. And the way theirs worked, well, let's back up here. Like you get to their main page and it kind of explains what they did. And then I select architectural properties. And then what it did was it just has this list of all the different houses that are on their tour. And then you click on one of the buildings or houses in this case. And then it has a, just a narrative about the structure. And then it has some pictures. This one only had one picture. But here's one. It actually has like the current picture, historic picture, and it just popped up. I don't know what this looks like on a phone. I'm doing it on my computer. But just a nice little thing that pops up. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's effective at dinner time too.
Yep. Oh, the ad there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if for those that can't see it right now, or actually anybody, just simply type in NewtonDrivingTour.com and you can actually see what they did.
Got it.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking. That wouldn't be very hard for us to recreate.
Yeah. This is Foss again. Of course, obviously ours would be a walking tour since it's all within several blocks, right?
Yeah.
Not a driving tour.
Yeah, theirs is just spread out more, so they just called it a driving tour instead.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Well, where are we at on this? Do we have other discussion?
What, how old? How old is the Newton tour? You know how long
I
it's
think
been
it
up?
was 2017 when they did theirs.
Okay.
It was like 3 or 4 years old, something like that. And I could
Kaylee,
probably
do you have
get a copy of
anything to
their
ask?
version too if they needed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
This
And
is Kevin.
this,
This is Kevin. I was noticing. I just opened this up, and like you're saying, there's a link here to local restaurants, which that may not be a bad idea too. You know?
Yeah.
Especially if we get a good restaurant downtown, which might happen. This is Foss.
So just as general information, when we redesign the website, what we're anticipating is Visit Arc City will have what's called a microsite, which will allow them to have their own branding. And I would already intend to have that kind of information on there. We have it currently on the site, but it doesn't really stand out as anything separate from the rest of the city website. But we've got a directory of the restaurants and the local shopping, and that's stuff that Pam Crane maintains and updates periodically. So the way we would do this is she'll have control over her microsite, so she can keep that stuff up to date. And if we want to put this on there, then we could easily tie those things together, but we could have it elsewhere too if we wanted to. We'll have some flexibility in that.
I could see it going either way. I could see it being its own site, and I could see it being just a part of theirs. Because
I
obviously
think it
they're
makes,
the ones going to want to use it.
yeah, I think it makes sense as part of the visitors section because that's where people are going to be landing. We already know that a lot of people hit arccity.org looking for the tourism type information. It's one reason that we gave her space on our site and got her off the chamber site. And I want to expand that with whatever platform we move to. But I know she would like to have more direct control as well. So there'll be a landing page where we expect people will go when they want to find information about Etzanoa, when they want to learn about Cherokee Strip Museum, when they want to know where to eat or what other entertainment there is, or if they're just finding out about Arkalala. I think it makes sense to house it in that area. But the specific ways of how we'll do that is going to depend on who our vendor is, and we'll get into that stuff later in the summer.
This is Kevin. I would imagine they're going to add on Etzanoa onto that too, won't they?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I think they've been working on an ideas for a driving tour or some kind of self-guided Etzanoa tour. The problem is there still isn't a lot to see that isn't on private property, so I know they're kind of wrestling with that. But I like what Newton did because they have different tours on there. I think it'd be very easy to match that format if we ever have any additional sorts of things we want to promote.
Yeah.
This is Kaylee. Your new website that you're working on, what would be the options for embedding video and audio even into that?
thank you.
I would say improved over what we have now. We have some capacity. We could do YouTube embeds right now on a page if we had something. But I think the design will be more flexible as far as how you want to drag and drop things in there. Again, I won't know for sure until we get into it and start doing training and tutorials. But from what I've seen in the demos, it would be pretty flexible.
I just think you might have more success with some multimedia type content opposed to a wall of text for people to read.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to optimize what we can do, you know, in terms of interactive stuff.
Well, yeah, we could keep the, this is Voss, and I'm just brainstorming here. I don't know if it makes sense, but keep the printed brochure simple, like it was done. I mean, it's very clear and elegantly printed, but then maybe with the app or with whatever microsite we have, that if people want more information about a building, they can click on something else, or I don't know how that would work.
Well, theoretically, we can actually have it link into the State Historic Society's register with all the updated survey information.
Well, that's true too.
I mean, if they really want to drill down and learn a lot about it, that's why reinvent the wheel. That's where it's housed. But we could have just the basic blurbs on everything.
Yeah. Like I would say, I think those. Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Foss.
No, I just was thinking again about the way the middle school kids did that Sanoa. I mean, it was just kind of bullet points on different things. It wasn't a wall of text or anything. So, and that's good. So.
Sure.
Oh, and on their downtown stuff too, which I guess I'm combining two thoughts together.
I guess the way I'm envisioning this, Foss, if you see the brochure that exists, it's kind of a tall trifold sort of thing, but each page is a different building. So there's like one photo and then, 2 to 3 paragraph write-up. Really, I figure we're just going to take what's there, make sure it's all up to date. We can add in details from the survey, but I figured you and I would probably work on the copy part of it with Josh. Okay. And then, once that's laid out and ready to go to print, we're just going to be duplicating what's in there on the website. Mm-hmm. We'll have the capacity for more photos and any other multimedia. And then we can have each location linked to the property listing.
Right. That sounds good.
To be honest, the amounts that I think Josh has down are probably way more than what we will end up needing, but it gives us flexibility. And if we do want to end up contracting out something, then we'll know we have some money to do it. But the other thing it does is, Pam is actually, she was feeling optimistic about her budget this year, but with the pandemic, we know that the transient guest tax revenues are going to drop off. So by us being willing to step in and bear the printing costs, I think it'll be helpful to her. And to be honest, we could probably do more printing even above, just depending on the quotes. If we need to come back next year and print another batch of them or something, we'll have that option at least.
Yes. Any more discussion?
This is George. Yeah, I got a question about how big is this pamphlet? How many pages? How many structures are we going to include in that pamphlet? Obviously, we can't include them all, or maybe not.
It'd help if I had my copy. I tried to have someone find it in my office, but it's gone hiding. I want to say it's around 28 to 32 pages, front and back, but they're not, like I said, very wide pages. It's the size of one you would see like in a kiosk where they have brochures, Yep. I think you could probably get most every significant property in the district in there. Josh, how many properties are there?
I forget the exact number, but there's way more than that. It's probably in the 75 to 100 range. But there's a lot of properties on there that are either non-contributing or just not very significant on their own.
Yes, and I want to say that some of them may be doubled up on a page too, depending on how much was known about them. But off the top of my head, I can't quite remember the exact format. It might even be a little thicker than that. It might have been in the 40-page range.
This is Kaylee. I think the thing that we would want to focus on would be the buildings that have a really strong or interesting history with the downtown. Places like Taylor Drug that have been a drugstore since the beginning and are very historically significant.
Well, that and functionality also, in terms of the appeal is those that, well, that they're still accessible to some degree.
Yeah.
If we had to prioritize what's in, what's referenced, and what's an image, a photo image, I would think we would defer to the things that are functional. People.
This is Kevin. When the middle school did their summer school program on that, I'm thinking we had like between 30 and 40 buildings that we spread out over the 3 grades.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, is there any more discussion? Josh, what do you suggest we just give a consensus to go ahead? You're going to present this at a meeting, is that correct?
Yeah, I have to present it at the city commission meeting next week. And basically what we're doing there is we're asking for their consent to apply for it. And then if we were to receive it, we can accept it. We have to have a letter of support or in this case, a resolution in order to apply for the grant. So this would act as kind of both of those things. It would be their support and their consent to apply, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was.
And that meeting is at 5:30 a week from tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it'll be virtual. It'll be on GoToMeeting just like this one is.
Oh, that's right, virtual. Yeah. Okay. I'll have to figure that out. Yeah.
I have another question. This is George here. Before we take off, how many the initial printing? How many brochures are we thinking about printing up?
Well, in the application, I've put 10,000. That's what we printed in 2005, and that's also what Newton based their numbers off of. I think that's probably a good place to start.
Okay, great.
Okay. Well, I guess I could. This is Foss. I could encourage people to log in or to join that meeting, that virtual meeting, city meeting, a week from Tuesday, so that we can get a sense of what. Yeah, I don't know, Andrew.
I'll include you on the invite. All of you will get that information if you want to come on. The only thing I'll say is what we do is we keep everyone muted except for commissioners and staff. But when that item comes up, if the mayor directs, I could open it up for you guys to comment. But I would say go ahead and make a motion and vote formally to recommend this application, just so we can put that on the action item and let them know that you all support it.
I would agree.
Is everybody had their say? Are we ready to take the vote on this?
Comment, question.
So I'll make the motion. This is George.
Okay, I can't second.
This is Charles.
Any seconds?
Yeah, this is Kevin.
Can you guys,
I will
I don't know if
second
you guys
the
can hear
motion.
me. Okay.
That was you. That was you. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Kevin.
Well, okay. Charles with the question suggestion. Probably Foss, Josh, Andrew. Rather than these things can be challenging if lots of people are trying to verbally give input. Could Foss perhaps have a prepared statement for the purpose of the board for the meeting if we're asked for input?
Well, sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, and I mean, of course. Well, I would seek Andrew's advice on this. What do you think, Andrew?
I mean, I think if Charles is saying basically if you'd function as a spokesperson for the entire board, yes, I think there's merit in that because those
Okay.
meetings can get pretty clogged up. But I think Josh and I are comfortable as staff conveying what we've
Okay.
discussed
Yeah,
here.
I'll be glad if
you
they want to hear from the board. I'll be glad to be the spokesperson. Absolutely.
That would be helpful.
Okay, that's where I was trying to land is instead of everybody or several trying to communicate, just if they want a concurrence from the board, Foss is the spokesperson.
Okay. Great. And if anybody wants to email me or text me before the meeting, any ideas they can. But I think we all are in agreement on this. That's my sense anyway. So.
What other are we visible by name? I mean, do they see if
That's a question for Andrew, I guess. But I'm sure
we've signed on to them
today or Tuesday?
That's kind of the same as being in the room.
that's true.
On that meeting with the governing body.
Well, for instance, currently you're logged in as Charles, and that's all that they see. We typically ask people to identify themselves if they're going to be making comments, but we haven't had any public comments since we went to this format. I do recommend we do a roll call vote for this.
That's
okay. So, all right. As I understand it, we have a George moved to approve, and Kevin seconded. Is that correct? To approve of having a vote. Is that correct?
That's what I have.
Okay. I'll go. I guess we're ready to take the roll call then. Go ahead, Josh.
Okay, Kevin Cox.
I vote yay.
Osfair.
Yay. Also.
Charles Jennings. Charles.
The feed might have frozen up.
Okay, we'll skip him for now. Kaylee Lawson.
Yes.
And George Lozano.
Yes.
Passes either way.
It's probably safe to
Yes,
say
that
that.
was,
Yes.
yeah,
Charles,
George's
were you
was
there?
yes. If that was the one
go
you
ahead.
didn't hear. I was just making clear my vote, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I got yours.
All right, Charles just chatted yes.
That works for me.
Okay.
Welcome
So
back.
I think that then the motion passes to. Okay, I guess the motion. We all agree that What are we doing here? That we want to bring this before the city. Is that the right way to say it?
That's
But
how
we
I
approve
was taking it.
that we backed your Josh's application for this grant. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, that's what we just voted on, whether to forward this to the city commission.
Right. Okay, good. Well, Josh, is there any other thing you need to discuss or?
No, not at this time. I don't have any other items. I just stuck that on the agenda just in case.
Okay. Okay, then is there a move that we adjourn?
I think we all just want to hang out here for a while.
It's kind of nice hanging out, isn't it? I guess.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second
George.
that motion. This is
George.
Kevin. I'll second the motion.
Okay. It's been moved and second. All in favor say yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
So I guess we are now adjourned, right, Josh? Thank you.
We are.